So today we're going to be making a rice pack bait. It's a little bit different to what everybody else's is. I know there's quite a few videos out there about it. Everybody has their kind of own little special way. So I'm just going to show you guys my way now, and kind of show you guys how I do it. Now, this rice bait's a little bit different than most. It'll take longer than 24 hours. It'll take longer than 3 days. I have best luck with this bait at least a week. I mean, you want to let it sit for at least a week, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I add a lot of particular things, so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I don't know what it is, but at least a week. I was at a carp tournament actually yesterday, and I was doing real good, won some money on a bait that's 3 weeks old. So the longer it sits, the better it gets, in my opinion, as far as rice goes. And as far as millet goes as well, I was catching a lot of fish about a month back on millet that was a year old. I just stuck it in the fridge and forgotten about it, pulled it out and put it in a bucket and caught fish on it. So that's the same way that I look at rice. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how I make it, show you guys how I make it, and then I'm obviously not going to be able to show you guys what it looks like afterward, because rice takes a little while to set up, especially the one that I make. So what you're going to need first off is a bucket with a lid. I always used to make it up in like 5-gallon buckets, and because I thought that the air needed to get to it. Well, then I figured out from Country Boys Outdoors and from Patrick Neese and all those guys that make bait tutorials, that if you just flip the bucket upside down, all that will run through. The air can get to the bottom and the top that way, and you can make it, your normal 2-gallon bucket. You don't have to transfer it over. So I've just got a 2-gallon bucket with a lid, real simple. That's what you're going to start out with. Box of instant white rice. That's real simple. I just get the 28-ounce box from Walmart. It's the cheapest that I've found. 2 24-ounce bottles of ketchup. Guys say use 48 ounces. I'll show you guys a little trick that allows you to add in your flavor and get to that 48 ounces of liquid. I only add about 44 ounces of ketchup, so I'll show you guys that. A half cup measured cup, some kosher salt, some plain white sugar. It can be powdered sugar. I've used powdered sugar. The last few times I've just used regular granulated sugar, and it works fine. You can use cane sugar if you want, or just normal sugar. So the cheapest stuff you can find is usually the best. 2 boxes of jello. This is in strawberry banana, and you're going to need about half a bottle, quarter to half a bottle of R&W, depending on how thick and potent your particular flavoring is. I'm not going to show you guys the flavor because I was doing really well on this flavor yesterday, and there's a lot of bait stealers. So, but if you guys see that strawberry banana jelly, you can probably figure it out. But anyways, we're going to start off just a whole box of rice in there. And now you can have a rice bait ready to go in an hour. You can have it ready to go in 3 hours. You can have it ready to go in 12 hours. You can even have it ready to go in 24 hours. The 1 hour is a box of rice, 2 bottles or 2 cans of soda and your flavoring, and you let it sit for an hour. However, after about 6 hours, it's just going to wait a second. Almost screwed up. I put a little bit of ketchup down in there. We want to do the dry ingredients first. You always want to put all the dry ingredients in there. So I've got about 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup of salt in there. Now I use the kosher salt. I've used iodized salt, and had baits, stay good for 3 or 4 months. But I've heard a lot about this kosher salt, so I decided I would give it a try. It's a little bit more expensive, so if you want to just use regular iodized salt, it'll work fine. So I'm going to fill this half cup half the way up and get 3/4 of a cup. Now I also make this bait with a cup of salt and a cup of sugar. if I want it to set even longer, because it takes even longer to set up. But the last bait that I made like that, it almost didn't set up in time, so I'm going to try the 3/4 of a cup just to see. And we're going to add 2 packets of jello. We're going to try to override that ketchup smell and saltiness as well, because there's a lot of salt in the ketchup. You're also putting a lot of salt in it to preserve it, and also to get it to pack right. So strawberry and banana, and you just want to give that a quick mix up, even though we've already got some ketchup in there. Now you're going to go ahead and put in your 2 bottles of ketchup, or 1.5 bottles, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this first bottle in there. Real simple. And before long, you know, doing it the 44-ounce way, you'll find that you have a whole bottle of ketchup from the leftovers. And then you won't have to buy a bottle of ketchup whenever you go to make your bait again. But I knew of this bait about 3 years ago, and I started carp fishing about 4 years ago, about 4 or 5. And I knew about it about 3 years ago, but I thought, this ketchup could never catch a fish. You know, this much ketchup in a bait, there's no way a fish is going to hit that. And so, you know, I kept telling myself that, not making it. And one day, I was going on a long trip, and decided that I would just go ahead and try it, you know, just to kind of see. So I made it, and I thought, you know, to myself, because I made the one that takes 24 hours. And I thought to myself, there's no reason for this bait to have to sit 24 hours. It should be ready to go 8, 9, 10, maybe 12 hours tops. Well, let it sit for about 12 hours. And, you know, anybody who's ever made a pack bait before, or a rice pack bait, knows that it takes a lot longer than that to set up. So again, with this second bottle, I don't put all of it in there. You don't want to add 36, or the rice won't be forever rice, but I add about 44 to 46 ounces of it, like that. And that just gives room for your bait, or for your liquid attractant. You can add the whole bottle, but I just found got better luck just adding in all of it except for about 4 or 5 ounces. So we're going to mix this all together. That's another little trick that I found. Is just go ahead and mix it all together and then add your flavor. It'll just mix up, your flavor will mix up a little bit better, I think, and it won't get overpowered by that ketchup as bad. You can use a glove or a spoon. I just use my spoon. It's just ketchup and rice. And no dry spots, or it will not pack them. You want all that liquid to touch all the dry. See how long I'm going on the video. Okay, we got it right about where I want. Alright, so we got all the dry in there, and you can get the hint of jello. It definitely needs, you know, something else, unless you're just looking for that ketchup flavor. So I've got this. I'm going to add, because I know this particular bottle flavor is a little bit strong, I'm going to add, I've got about 1/4 of the bottle out already. I'm going to add it to about where it says, in between the phone number, the second phone number, and Lincolnton on the R&W bottles, sitting at 1/4 of a bottle. So if you're using Superior, I suggest really putting about half a bottle. Bubba J's, I haven't made any rice with Bubba J's yet, so I couldn't tell you. But R&W, 1/4 to a half a bottle is usually good, depending on what flavor it is. So I just pour it in there and check. There we go. should be good. And that gives us plenty for fishing, you know, with oats or whatever. So just want to mix this up. And I have noticed that even though it's got a lot of ketchup in it, whatever jello and whatever flavor, color you use, that's usually the tint of the bait. That's usually what it's got the tint of. So like pineapple, it's usually got a yellower kind of color. So, you know, if you're catching fish based off the color, you know, maybe if you're catching them on banana, pineapple, but not, you know, catching them on grape or, you know, blue Hawaii or whatever you're using. If it's a color thing, then you always know, you know, pineapple, banana, even peach sometimes. You can still catch them on all those flavors if it's color oriented. But if it's not, you know, if it's true flavor, you're just gonna have the color of the flavor. All right. I'm not planning on going fishing anytime soon. Maybe the end of this week. It's a Monday night now, so you know, I could go fishing Thursday, Friday, maybe. That should give us just enough time to set up right, the way that I make it. So, again, you know, let it sit for, I say, at least a week. Guys, you know, they'll throw it after 24 hours. They'll throw it after, you know, 3 days sometimes. I say at least a week if you really want to get it, you know, nice and fluffy, firm. I always have good luck throwing it with a flavored pop too. That's just a little thing that I've noticed. Either if I dip it or if I flavor it up, which that'll be a video probably right after this one on how to flavor pops. And even fake corn. I've had a lot of luck on fake corn before. So that's the, you know, tutorial. And I don't know if you can see the shadow in the bucket. It only goes to about right there. And this is a 2-gallon icing bucket. It will blow up the corn, or the rice will get about 3 times its size, and you'll end up, I mean, with half a bucket worth probably. So that's how I do it. I know my 1.25 gallon buckets, it'll fill it all the way up to the top. So that's how you do it. Flavor's really overpowering it. The strawberry banana really helps with the sweetness, I think, and the R&W just kind of flavors it up. And gets it, you know, that good aroma. So that's how I do it. That's pretty much it. I mean, you put the lid on. I let it sit just like this for the first day, and then I'll flip it, you know, every 4 to 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever you want, and it should be good. But make sure that you have a good lid that seals. I know these icing buckets work really well, so they've got the food grade seal in there, so they don't let a lot of air in. And they keep what air is in there. So again, you know, that's how I make my rice. It's a little bit different from everybody else's. You know, if it wasn't different, I wouldn't make the video. But you know, it's a little bit different than, you know, what everybody else does. So it's 3/4 to a cup of sugar, 3/4 and a cup to salt, whatever kind of salt you want. 2 packs of jello, half a bottle of flavor, 44 ounces of ketchup. As you can see there, it's all gone down. It's about, you got about a quarter left. 1 28-ounce box of rice, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be coming out with some millet, some flavored puffs, things like that, you know, things that aren't out there, you know, maybe that, you know, guys aren't doing yet. So I know that there's a couple new guys, you know, out there, Country Boys Outdoors, Patrick Neese, everybody like that. So check back in for some more videos. I'm gonna try to, you know, start doing bait making, you know, going out to the Pale Lake, you know, wild water, whatever. So, you know, try it. It works good for me. There's my face. Caught a 17-pounder on it. 17 exact, actually. Won $100. Not on that flavor, but on the exact same kind of bait. So, and a flavored pop. And I'll show you guys how to flavor them up. Show you how to flavor them up in the microwave with Lorraine oils, kind of like the other people do. And then I'll show you guys how to flavor them up in a jar without them, you know, having to dip them or anything. Because if you ever notice, dipping them makes them soft. So I'll show you guys how to flavor them up if you were flavoring them up at the lake or flavoring them up at home. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's really simple, really easy. So watch out for the next video because that's probably what I'll do.